Hey, so today we're going to explain copyright infringement on Amazon merch. In particular, what copyright is, what can happen if you break copyright on Amazon merch, and finally, how you can check in advance to make sure you're not going to break copyright law. So thanks for watching Starting Up, all about sharing tips for selling online, daily videos, so make sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video. I'm going to open this video up by asking you, have you ever had any problems on Amazon merch with copyright? Let me know below if you have and what's happened to you. And before we get into this breakdown of copyright infringement, copyright law, so I want to put a disclaimer, this is not final legal advice. I'm not a lawyer, so don't use what I say in this video as permission or complete authorization to do something that's maybe a bit risky. If you ever think you might be potentially breaking copyright law, you know, I'd say check with an attorney, check with a legal advisor to make sure you're in the clear. Never risk it and just go on advice that I or another YouTuber says. I'm going to give you the basics of copyright law, but I can't give you a case-by-case breakdown of what's right and what's not. So if you feel like you might be like leaning towards breaking copyright, don't take this video as your permission to do so. Consult a legal attorney. But let's jump into the basics of copyright law. So before we get into how Amazon merch handles copyright infringements, we should probably talk about what copyright law is. So copyright, basically what copyright does is it protects a creator's creation. So it can be their creation across lots of different formats. So a musician creates music. A computer game designer creates games. A cartoonist creates cartoons, the characters and the environments in the cartoons. You know, a car manufacturer creates a car. A poet creates poetry. It can be creations across tons of different formats. A graphic designer creates a logo, so on and so forth. So basically what copyright tries to do is it tries to protect the creator from having their work stolen and profited from by someone else. So in the example of Amazon merch, it's basically protecting creators of t-shirts from having their t-shirt designs stolen and used by other people. Copyright law protects your creation, your t-shirt design, so that only you can profit from that creation. So if you think about it, copyright is actually a really good thing, because without it, there'd be no protection of intellectual property, you know, creations that you've come up with in your mind. If you buy a bike or you buy a car and that gets stolen, then you can go to the police, or you know, or you have insurance on that physical product and say my item, my product has been stolen. But with creations, you know, creative creations, before copyright law existed, there was not really any way of protecting that stuff. So it's a really good way for people to be able to profit from creative creations. And in Amazon merch, it's a great way for you to profit from your t-shirt designs. Now, I can't cover exactly every medium that copyright law applies to, you know, music, games, etc. But I'll put links to some articles below that go into copyright law in a lot more detail and give a lot more examples in case you're worrying whether you're covered or not. But that's a quick breakdown of what copyright is. So let's look at how it can be infringed when you're using Amazon merch and what can happen if you break copyright law, if you infringe on someone else's copyright protection. So Amazon merch has in their content policy that you cannot infringe copyright. You cannot use other people's designs on your t-shirt designs. It's not your property, you're stealing it from someone else. You can't use copyright protected designs on Amazon merch on their t-shirts. So what's going to happen if you do that? Well, it's written right there in Amazon's content policy that you can't do it. So if Amazon catches you, your account is going to be terminated and you're going to be thrown off Amazon merch. You're not going to be able to sell any t-shirts through the platform. Your account's going to be terminated and you won't be able to get back on. So in the mindset of just protecting yourself, you know, copyright exists to protect other people, but if you want to protect yourself, don't steal anyone else's designs from the platform. Now, Merch by Amazon are really strict on this, and they have people and they have also technology scanning t-shirts to check for copyright. Because if they weren't doing that, Amazon could be getting sued themselves, because if it's a platform where they're encouraging copyright infringement, Amazon would come under a lot of trouble. So it's in Amazon's interest to find copyright infringement and to get it off their platform. So if you're thinking, it's such a big platform, I'll probably just fall through the cracks and never get noticed, don't think that way. It's dangerous thinking. You're likely to lose your account and not be able to continue selling t-shirts on the platform. And there's wider ramifications off Amazon if you infringe copyright law. Copyright law is protected by law, by the government. It's a legal protection. So it's not just Amazon that can punish you, it is actual law. The law can come and bite you in the backside with this one. So you could end up actually being sued because you're profiting off someone else's creativity. So you could be taken to court and actually sued and lose money from your physical assets because you've broken copyright law, And worst case scenario, there are examples that people also go to prison because they've broken copyright law. So if you're thinking of doing it and you're thinking, oh, the worst that can happen is I just get thrown off merch by Amazon, don't think that way. It can have a wider problem off the platform and you could legally become very vulnerable if you infringe copyright while selling t-shirts on merch by Amazon. So now you know what copyright law is and some of the risks that you have if you choose to break copyright law. I want to just give you a few exceptions where copyright doesn't actually cover people's creations. So exceptions where you can use other people's creations. So I've got a list here. So some of the exceptions are personal use. If you're going to take someone else's graphic work, design work, and purely use it for yourself, so for example, make your own t-shirt that you never sell to anyone else, it's purely for personal use, you're not getting any commercial gain from this. If you're just going to wear it yourself for personal use, then there is an exception in copyright law and you can do so. But if you're putting a t-shirt on Amazon merch, you're clearly not using it just for yourself, so obviously that doesn't cover that instance. The next instance is when the copyright owner has died. So if a graphic designer makes a design and it's their legal property, but then they pass away, after a certain amount of time, you can technically use that design and start to profit from it because the copyright owner is deceased, they're not making money from it anymore, there's no risk that when you make money, you're taking money away from them. So you can then use a design if the copyright owner has died. But be careful here, there's a period, and I think it changes depending on what country you're in, there's a period after the copyright owner's death where copyright law is still in existence. So you have to wait until after that period's passed until you can start using those designs. And finally, there are ways that the content owner can basically protect their design after they pass away. There's legal loopholes, like they can make an estate and they can basically make the estate own that design, that intellectual property. So take for instance Disney. I think Disney is an example of this. After Walt Disney passed away, in theory all of his creations should have been open to the public domain. Anyone should be able to use that property. But there's legal things there where they've got the Disney estate and the Disney corporation that owns that copyright. Rather than just the individual, it's now owned by an estate, so that copyright law is still in effect. So don't completely rely on the fact that the creator has deceased to get you out of trouble with copyright law. I'd always say, if it's someone else's creation, just, play it safe and don't use it, even if they have passed away. Another instance where copyright law doesn't cover you, isn't in effect, is if the work you're copying was created before copyright law came into effect. So, think of old Shakespeare's books. They were written before copyright law was in existence. So you can now go away and recreate a Shakespeare's work and sell it, and I believe there's no legal ramifications because it's not covered by copyright law, because copyright law wasn't in existence when it was originally created. Also, the Bible. The Bible, thousands of years ago, copyright law didn't exist then. You can reproduce that, recreate it, and it's not in existence. But if you're looking to sell t-shirts on Amazon merch has been around for what, 3-4 years. You can guarantee that any designs on there were created after copyright law came into existence. It's not that new. Copyright law has been around for a long time. So any designs you see on Amazon merch or any other t-shirt stores you can assume that design was made after copyright law was in existence, so you can't use that as an exception when you're selling on Merch by Amazon. And finally, the only other exception where you can get around breaking someone's copyright is fair use. And this is usually covers like educational situations. So say for instance, a school that needs to use a company logo or a song or a movie to educate the class, and they're not going to make any commercial benefit from it. They're not selling any products. It's purely used for education. They can then use copyrighted work in the educational platform environment. But obviously, Merch by Amazon is not educational. You're going to be making a profit, so you can't even use this loophole. So the 4 loopholes that exist, the only one you might be able to use is if the copyright owner has passed away. But really, if there's a creation, like a creative creation that someone's made, and you're thinking of copying that and use it on your designs, don't do it. You'll infringe your copyright, you'll get kicked off Amazon, and worse, you may even feel the cold, hard boots of the law. So how do you check if a copyright exists? Well, there's a website for that. I'll link you to the Copyright Office's website, I believe it is, in the description below. And finally, I haven't spoken about trademarks in this video, but trademarks is another legal protection that you need to be aware of and make sure you're not breaking. I'll link you to, that really covers phrases and sentences. Copyright law covers more creations like drawings and games and like, you know, visual creations, but trademarks covers sentences and phrases that people have legally protected. You can check if a sentence or phrase you're thinking of using has been trademarked using the Trademark Office's website in the description below. So you've got the copyright website and the trademark website in the description, and that's how you check if they already exist, if something you're thinking of using is protected, and then if it is protected, you can't use it on your t-shirt designs on Merch by Amazon. Great, so thanks for watching the video. I hope this has covered everything you need to know. If you've got any questions about copyright infringement, if you're thinking of doing something on Merch by Amazon and you're not sure about it, make sure to ask me in the comment section below. Like I said, don't use this video as complete legal advice. It's not going to hold up in court if you say I watched Greg telling me about copyright and he said I was okay. Make sure to educate yourself using legal documents or getting an attorney to give you clearance if you're unsure about something. But this is just basically giving you the basics so you have a basic understanding of what it is, so you can make sure you're not going in the wrong direction, you're not going to get punished by Merch by Amazon, and you're not going to get punished by the law. So thanks for watching. I hope you found it useful. Make sure to subscribe to the channel starting up using the subscribe button below or clicking on my face in this end screen. Videos every day, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.